Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, Prattvilleans and non-Prattvilleans alike. Thank you for tuning in to the Preferred Experience, episode 15. Millzer, 15 episodes goes by pretty fast.
15, man, and with a few 2 or 3 week breaks during football season.
Hey, if anybody around here understands football, high school football, and the role that you play and all that, they understand that sometimes it just doesn't get done in a podcast week.
No, it's we're pretty much spot shooting for podcasts during football season, and I think our fans understand that. They know where our priorities lie in the August to December window.
And once football season ends in December, we'll have much more time to devote toward making this a more regular experience.
Absolutely.
But we've been fairly regular during the football season. I give us credit for that. I don't mean to brag on you at all, but we've managed to miss only 2 or 3 weeks in the football season. So good for us.
Yes.
Well, and speaking of football season, big games this weekend. We'll get into that in a minute. But because of football season and because of the current political climate around here and the vote coming up, we've got a special guest today that I'm going to let you introduce because he's a pretty well known guy in the realm of high school sports and athletics, and just a well known guy in general.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm gonna let this I've got a little audio clip before we introduce him. I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna see if people can recognize him because he is world famous.
Yes,
without a doubt, world famous. And this call was one of probably the most played call in the history of Alabama high school sports.
no question.
No question about it. Made ESPN, man, and just his call and the ending of of this little clip is so perfect. So anyway, he's over here grinning. We're gonna play it and we're gonna let y'all take a listen.
And some friends of mine, of course, my buddy Tim Coleman down on the coast down there is the voice of the Alberta Warriors, as he's been very supportive of Thompson High School as well, and tuned in. Richard Patterson, we blocked the punt, folks, and we're going to pick it up and run it in.
Wait a minute. Stop the phone, everybody.
Wait a minute. With 18 seconds to go, we blocked the punt and run it in for a touchdown.
It's Amari. Oh, my goodness.
That's Amari Bolden. Amari Bolden with the play of the game. Oh, my goodness gracious. Talking about giving us hope. It's 28-25 now. Oh, my goodness. It bounces, goes up in the air. We got it! We got it at the 45-yard line with 18 seconds to go. Gavin Shipman comes up with it. 2 wides to the right. Last play before field goal attempt. Quickly, pump fake, going for it all to J.B. Mitchell, incomplete in the end zone.
Got a flag.
And got a flag in the end zone. With 4 seconds to go. It's a good snap. It's on the way. It's high enough. It's long enough. It's good. It's good. It's good. They win it. They win it. They win it. Thompson is the 7A state champs. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What a game. What a game. What a game. Woo!
An improbable comeback for Mark Freeman and the Thompson Warriors. We did not give up, and we've got 2 wins in a row, baby.
Man, what a game. Oh, my goodness gracious.
And so many Thompson Warriors.
Gosh, Thompson is your state champions.
So many Thompson Warriors in disbelief on the field, on their knees. We thought this thing was over.
They have tackled Trevor Hardy, and I would tell you what, unbelievable, unbelievable.
Jerry, I can't believe it.
I'm already talking about basketball. How stupid am I?
Like there was ever any doubt, Jerry.
Wow, guys, that brings back some memories, doesn't it? Did I get a little excited or what?
Rightly so. Rightly so. The most improbable comeback in the history, maybe, of all championship sports in the state.
So I was going down the list of people that I was thanking for the year. Obviously, I had a couple of names in there.
Before we get into that, we do need to say, in case you don't know, this is Jerry Young, the voice of the Thompson Warriors and a longtime voice of high school athletics across the state. He's probably, as far as the number of events and the quality of the calls, he's probably the top dog in the state of Alabama.
I don't know about
No
that.
question.
I'm sitting next to one right here.
No question, Jerry. No, not that you're sitting next to one, but you are. I mean, as far as play-by-play voices in the state goes, you're the walking dog. I mean, so it's an honor to have you on the program today.
Well, I appreciate it. But, yeah, Josh Beam picked up on that with AL.com. I was already talking basketball. So that's what I was doing. I was trying to comfort and console the fan base. You know, here we are getting kicked by Auburn, and everybody in the state thought, well, you know, Thompson's going to walk away from it, you know, with a big win. And then that happened, and half the people are in the parking lot, you know, and listening on their phones, and people started coming back in when they blocked the punt. But that game was so unusual because it had to have, I think I counted, it was 13 things in a row that had to happen that way in a row to even get to the point to kick the field goal. And it all happened, came into place.
It was just an unbelievable turn of events. And you know, ended up costing the coach his job that night.
Yeah, he's in Tuscaloosa County.
I mean, as successful as Weingarten had been in Auburn, that was it. There was no coming back from that.
Well, you know, a lot of kids, a lot of parents, I think, thought that it cost their kids some scholarship, you know, kind of stuff. That's the way I felt anyway. I don't know if that's true or not, but, yeah, it was a tough place to hang around after that.
My goodness. What a story. And what a story Thompson High School and the Warrior football program has been over the last 10 years. I'm old enough to remember a time we were calling football games where we would actually playing against Thompson in region play, and Thompson was just a wide spot in the road on the way to state championship.
Yeah,
you know, and
right.
Now all roads go through Thompson, and you got to take down Thompson if you want to crack at it at all.
Yeah,
It's been a renaissance.
You know, Mark Freeman obviously has done a great job, and the whole school board, all the way down, you know, the principal, all those guys. It's amazing. The city council they all came together to make this school possible, and you put the right people in the right places, and look what happens. And
it hasn't just been the school that's benefited from the athletes and the students that have benefited from the new Alabaster City Schools. It's been Alabaster in general. Talk about how that place has changed since the Alabaster school system has come about.
Well, I know y'all are facing a millage increase here coming up soon, and we had the same, you know, fears when we started, like 10 years ago, I guess it was, when all this came about in Alabaster. People had, you know, fears of how much their property taxes would go up or whatever. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to ask my wife because she might remember, but it was not much money per year. You know, I'm going to guesstimate it at $100 a year, thereabouts. It may have gone up more than that. Maybe it was $170 or something at the time. And so everybody was concerned. You know, you pay another $170 a year, but to be honest with you, Will, my property values have doubled over the last 10 years. And I know some of that's, you know, due to inflation and the rise in real estate, but that's how many people want to move to Alabaster now to be a part of that school system and what that school system has meant to the community and overflowing into city politics.
And you talk about inflation causing home prices to go up and just the price of real estate in general, but in places where there's a failing school system, it doesn't matter if inflation is going up or not. The home values are going down.
That's right.
And you can look over 35 miles to the west of here from Prattville. You got Selma, Alabama, that was once a thriving school system with an Air Force base attached to it. That shuts down. The school system refuses to, the city refuses to support the school system properly. And now you've got 6,000 square foot mansions in Old Town Selma that are appraising for $115,000.
That's right. And, you know, I don't even know how to explain how happy we are in Alabaster for what we did. And I know that people look at that and say, well, man, how can you say that my bills are going to go up every month by $25 or, you know, $30 or whatever in property tax, when in reality, if you can do that and get the money into the school and the school being supported by the town as well, You know, property values, I mean, how do you compare hundreds of thousands of dollar rise in property values versus a couple of hundred increase per year in taxes?
Absolutely. Now, when Thompson High School was coming online, Thompson High School athletics started to set the standard for quality facilities in the state. Now, back in 2004, Millzer, when the indoor was built here, when Prattville built their indoor facility, it was one of the first of its kind. We were like, wow, we gotta match that. And now, just a few years ago, Thompson set the new standard with what a high school athletic facility can really be, and it's just massively impressive. What was the sentiment from the community when that was coming online?
Well, you know, you had some people that say, I can't believe we spent this much money on athletics. You know, why we got so many fields? You know, I get that. I even complained about the sign out front. You know, why did we spend so much money on Thompson High School sign? Well, you know, it's our showpiece. We don't just have school there. There's events going on that campus 7 days a week. It's amazing. And then the Performing Arts Center, you know, you just look outside of athletics, Performing Arts Center that I think it seats 1,400 people or so. I mean, it's incredible with the latest technologies, and what Stacy would love to have is latest technology in audio and visual video equipment. So yeah, athletic department, you know, I'm not here to brag on Thompson High School, but if you've never seen it, would like to have a tour, you know, I mean, it's quite impressive.
Yeah, and when you look at median household incomes around the state, Prattville is in the top 5. Watauga County is top 5 median household incomes in the state, and Alabaster is Shelby County just behind them. And you see what's possible with an educated, properly taxed population. What you can do with schools and how that just continues to, like you said, it's like a multiplier effect. You spend $170, $250 more a month on property taxes, and your home prices go, and your value goes up $50,000, $100,000. It's just it's a snowball effect. It's a multiplier effect, and some people, they just won't understand this no matter how many times you tell them.
No, they won't, and I get that. And even after you do it, you know, they're still going to complain, even though they can sell their house and make, you know, twice what they did on it. But you know, it's always going to be that segment that's going to complain some. But you know, we're not the first ones to do that. I mean, you go back and look at Hoover.
Right.
I mean, Hoover did the same thing a few years ago. I mean, they were, you know, Old Berry High School and part of the county, and all of a sudden you get Hoover City Schools. Look what they've done. And so, you know, I don't know that Alabaster did anything that several people haven't done. And, of course, there's 2 or 3 other communities around the state right now trying to do the same thing, which is like Chelsea, for example. You know, they're looking at breaking away from Shelby County. So whether or not they get the votes or not, but I get the fact that if you own a lot of property in a community, then you'll pay more than the guy that owns a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch house in the subdivision. I get that. But at the same time, property goes up everywhere. It's not just the subdivision property. Every property goes up. So, you know, you hope that those people are good business people and they understand that.
Well, you hope so. When that vote comes up November 8th, and I hope that everybody listening to this is going to vote yes for Local Amendment 1. We certainly do need it. We're not even talking about a new city school system. We're talking about increased funding for an existing county school system. Nobody's talking about breaking off into a city school system. That's not even on the table. That's not the desire of the city. The desire is to enhance what we have in this county school system, and we could do it with the resources we have. We just have to step up and choose to put our money where our mouth is, and hopefully November 8th we'll do just that.
Well, you know, I equated it to us like we did, but it's the same thing. It's the investment in education. It's investment in youth. And if you invest in youth, guess who comes? The adults come.
Right.
Because they want their kids to be in the best possible place.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, you know, and just because they made their investment and got into everything, built a new football stadium, whatnot, he just informed me that, we've outgrown the football stadium already.
Surprise, surprise.
So he said
right?
There is a plan now to enclose one end zone and to increase capacity and what the facility is 6 years old maybe?
Yeah, 6 years old.
And all you got to do is get it started.
Yeah, well, we've already built another gymnasium. We have 4 gymnasiums now, so we have our own wrestling practice area facility, which is incredible, and our own wrestling gym. We have the main arena, then we have what we call the secondary gym, which is as nice as anything I've ever been in, and now construction almost finished on the 4th gym. We added 2 new fields. We added a soccer practice field. We've added indoor practice area for both softball and baseball. They have 2 separate buildings now out in center field. It's an indoor practice facility for both of those sports. We built our own cross-country track, and plans are now it's built, but we don't use it like we should. But in the future, you'll see that get finished on a higher level where, we'll start holding cross-country events on campus. So there's so many things you can do when you got a little bit of money. Everybody contributes a little bit. You get stuff done.
Yeah, but you're just talking about athletics. You're just talking. I mean, all I hear is athletics. Surely you're not spending that kind of money on academics. Surely not.
Oh, listen, the nursing. I walked through the nurse. My wife's a nurse, and just it's like you're walking into an operating room and a hospital room all together. These kids come out of high school with more education in nursing than my wife ever had going to nursing school. They're so far ahead. How about the ROTC building? I mean, I won't say building, it's in the school. But, things like that improves kids from every walk of life. How about the body shop, the mechanical shop? All of these.
Talk about a dying art.
Yeah. I mean, but there's kids in that school now that already know how to repair body damage that are going to come out of high school with education that goes straight into making. And we all know, it's not like everybody has to go to college. I mean,
right.
They're making good money.
Yeah, I was just about to say they're walking out of the school ready to make $35 an hour.
Right, with a trade like that. Are you kidding me? Diesel mechanic, come on, $65, $70 an hour.
And it's not. And the way things are now, it's not a competitive field. If you're skilled at it, you're going to get a job immediately out of high school.
Yeah. And of course, every classroom, full computers. It's nothing like when I was in high school. You had your little desk, and you said it. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
And you said it yourself. I mean, it takes a community to do it, and it takes everybody coming together for the right reasons. And nobody. I mean, I think everybody sitting at this table is pretty much conservative politically, and as conservatives, we don't like taxes. Nobody likes taxes.
Right.
But there's a big difference between a federal, state, and local tax. And this what's been done at Alabaster is a local tax that you can see, that you can feel immediately. That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a tax that goes up into the state and distributes back down to us, or goes to the feds and distributes. It stays right here on the red clay in Talcott County, and you see immediate impact. And so November 8th is just critical. Vote yes. As a conservative, I'll be voting yes because I want my dollars to stay right here in Talcott County.
I can't encourage people enough to make that step and to do that. And I can sit here and keep bragging on Thompson, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Without the funding, you can't do that. And if you want what's best for your family and your children, and you want young families to move in, that the multiplying effect. I mean, you look at jobs in Alabaster. I mean, it's amazing at the businesses that have opened because there's so many more people. Now, we're 4-laning roads, inside the city because we can't move the traffic through like we used to, and so it's a total effect on the community that has. I'll give you an example. I talked about the Performing Arts Center, the Red Mountain Symphony Orchestra. Guess where they have their Christmas show? In Thompson High School's Performing Arts Center. Okay, so. The days of going to the BJCC, I mean, we actually pull those, not that they don't perform down there, but they do shows on the campus at Thompson High School. Now, so when we talk about athletics, I mean, playing the violin and being a center on the football team, two different worlds, but
Right.
both of those kids get the exact same treatment in whatever they choose to go in, whether it's body work or mechanical or nursing and all of these. And there's a word for that. I forgot what it is, what they call those schools, but that's schools inside the schools that help every kid.
Yeah, and those kind of situations are critical because everybody finds their own way. Not everybody's going to go to a 4-year school and academic scholarship out of the gate. For some of them, it's athletics. For some of them, it's extracurriculars. For some of them, it's a debate scholarship or a cheer scholarship or a music scholarship or a trade. And all these things are massively important for each kid. And so, I mean, hats off to the way it's being done over there. It's really a what's the word? It's really a template for how it should be done, state across the board.
I think so too. And you said cheerleaders, and every time you say it, jogs my memory. We did a interview with the cheerleaders a couple of weeks ago in their own practice gym. Can you imagine that? It's a 3-story high room with the mats in it, with the audio sound system to where they can practice their choreography
Wow.
on cheerleading, and the dance team, they have their own gym as well. Okay. The band room looks like you're walking into a convention hall. It's absolutely amazing. And classrooms off of the main room in the band that allows each student to be able to go in there with their own, like trumpet players. They got their own room just for trumpet players to
Wow.
make them the best. So, and how does that equate? Well, Thompson's been in 2 or 3 band competitions, first place in every one of them. I mean, so that's what happens. And if your child plays trumpet, if your child plays football, knowing that they have what it takes to make them the best that they can be, that's how you build a community.
No doubt about it. And I guess the one thing that's really put Thompson on the map on the national scene, as well as the local scene, is Thompson Warrior football over the last few years. Now you guys have played some nationally televised games here recently. Against Buford, against Lipscomb School out of Tennessee.
Right.
Like super competitive games. Now, but what's been crazy about 7A football this year is the parity. For the first time in a long time, there's just incredible parity across the board. We've seen upsets. We don't normally see number 1, number 2 teams in the state be upset on a week-by-week basis, but we're seeing that now. And it's just been a crazy year for football.
Buford's one of the best teams in the country. And I mean that. Now, Lipscomb is a great football team, one of the best in Tennessee. Just like Prattville started, they lost a couple of games they shouldn't have. That's the way we feel about the Tennessee team, But I get that. You have a little, whatever reason we were down from Buford and all that stuff. But all that's to make us better football-wise going into this time of year, to where this week, we're going to play Hoover. It's going to be a big ball game. But, when we opened the facility 5 years ago, the NFHS Network called me, and they had worked a deal with Facebook Watch. And Facebook Watch actually broadcast for free 3 of our football games from the stadium. 1.8 million people average per game watched Thompson High School play football that year.
Wow.
And so I can remember, always, and I know you know this, Will, there's a point in your career after you call so many, you still get that feeling of being excited, but you're not quite as nervous when the light goes on and you're ready to talk. First time in my life, I was actually nervous because we looked down there, and at that time there was 1.2 million viewers watching when they did it. And it averaged, whatever they did, at 1.8 million per game. But, so that's the kind of recognition that came to Thompson 5 years ago, and we're still reaping the benefits from that now.
Now, this weekend, this Friday, you mentioned you got Hoover on the schedule, and that's become like the main game in the North in 7A every year. The Thompson Hoover game that pretty much decides who goes where, and this game is going to be no different.
No, it'll be tough. It's always a great ball game. It's an iron bowl of high school football, to be honest with you. That's the way I look at it. But in that region, I won't say for the state, but in Region 3, I think it is. And, everybody else is getting better. You mentioned Adam Weingarten, and he's at Tuscaloosa County. They're better. Oak Mountain's got a new coach. They're better. Vestavia has got a new coach. They're better. Spain Park's got a new coach. They're going to be better. So in that region there, which, the region that we're in, the region that Prattville's in, y'all get to play Mobile teams. We get to play North teams.
Right.
But I'm dreaming one day that Stacy Mills and you and me are all in the same press box together down at, let's just wish for Auburn, okay?
That would be great. That'd be great. I would take any press box to have this group together. But yeah, the Birmingham region and the Central region are the two most competitive regions, maybe in all of high school football. I'm talking 1 through 7A.
Right.
7A region 2, 7A region 3. Right.
Yes.
That definitely got to be the most competitive. I don't see any Mobile teams making it out of the first round. I don't see any Huntsville area teams making it out of the first round. You got 6 or 7 quality teams in Region 3 competing for 4 spots, and the same in Region 2. And this weekend, this Friday, we'll do a lot to start to clear that picture up for both regions.
Right. In Region 3, the only thing that's whether Thompson or Hoover finishes 1 and 2, but on the bottom you got Tuscaloosa County playing Vestavia Hills. The winner of that game gets the 4 seed.
Mm-hmm. Right, and we're trying to end our run of misfortune against Auburn this Friday. That's a team that has had our number since 2009.
Well, I do a lot of shows around the state, Will, and you know that. And my number one thing when I say this, I mean it in sincerity. When Foley is good, when Prattville is good, it changes the whole state. Mm-hmm. Right? For the last 2 or 3 years, everybody knows it's been Auburn, Central, Phoenix City. It's been Hoover and Thompson, okay? When you throw Foley and you throw Prattville into that mix, Bob Jones and James Clemens and those guys up north, they need to get better. Sparkman's a huge school. They always have good athletes. I still haven't understood why Sparkman's not, great from the north part of the state. But, this year I picked, just a little bit ago on another show, I picked Prattville to beat Auburn. So I'm telling y'all, I'm looking for you.
Well, I hope you're right. I think they can do it. Auburn, of course, Prattville inexplicably lost early in the season to Smith Station and lost to Dothan on some really fluke stuff. But I mean, and a quarterback shift, of course, and then they're playing the best football they played probably in 10 years right now. And so if there's ever a time for Prattville to get off the deck against Auburn and or Central, it'd be this year. We saw Central just whip Auburn last week in Phoenix City, and nobody, I think, saw that coming. A lot of people picked Auburn to win that game. So Region 3 might have a little clearer picture. Region 2, our region, is in complete chaos right now. Prattville could win. If Prattville wins the next 2 games, Auburn and Central, they'll win the region. If they lose the next 2 games, they could be out all the way. I mean, it's that much of a switch over the next 2 weeks. And so, Millzer's looked at the shakeout 4, 5, 6 different ways, and it could come down to double-letter tiebreakers.
It's basically we're huge JD fans right now. just as the buffer, we need JD to go on a winning streak.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, Montgomery will start to have a quality 7A program here in the next couple of years when Lanier and Carver merge together into one school. These 2 big 6A schools becoming one.
Yeah, Carver this year, even before that, is they're a big time contender for 6A this year.
Yeah,
they have a real good team, and like I said, you start merging that Lanier talent into that Carver school. Wow, that's gonna be one of those mega schools.
Yeah, and high school football in the state of Alabama has grown by leaps and bounds itself in the last 10 to 15 years. I remember when we first started doing this all together back in 2008. There weren't a lot of high school broadcasts. If they were, it was very localized, very small, wasn't big footprint, and now that's totally changed. And I think Thompson's had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, our audience is as big outside of Alabaster as it is inside of Alabaster. And we have people now that, well, you take Alabama football fans. I mean, last year you had Jeremiah Alexander go to Alabama. This year you've got Tony Mitchell going to Alabama. You had Fagans last year. His little brother Anquan is playing lights out. Peter Woods going to Clemson. That fan base has understood that you can go online and find those players in high school and watch them. I mean, it's incredible at the amount of people that are able to watch high school football now.
It really is, and it's all kind of ways to watch.
And I was just going to say, and it's just not broadcasting the game. I'll brag on Jerry right here. The Warrior Nation Network is an impressive operation as you will see in high school sports across the entire country. This is not just in the state of Alabama. It is. I mean, they have just like an ESPN Game Day. They have it just like before every game. So I'll let Jerry elaborate what all they got into.
Well, we start in what we call the Tailgate Plaza. This week, our guests are Greg and Rick Burgess, so they're always fun to watch.
Never heard of them. Who are they?
Last week, we had Jeremiah Alexander. The week before that, we had James Spann. The week before that, we had Jim Dunaway. So we, bringing in local Birmingham and statewide talent into the show. You can buy a ticket. One of the local restaurants feeds you. You get to sit under the tent, we broadcast that on on Thompson Athletic Facebook page, as well as to the crowd. There's about 200 or 300 people standing out there. So it's not like College Game Day where you in the back you have all the signs and all, but that's what we see out front. Then we go from there. When that show's over at 6:30, we run up to the press box, start the pregame show on the Warrior Nation Network, and then that game, we should play the game there. So we do on Thursdays. We do the weekly Warrior preview that airs every Thursday night at 7:30, like y'all do. We just call it the weekly Warrior preview instead of the coach's show or whatever. And so the reason I tell you that is that the kids, and Stacy knows this from the media school, the media class at the school, the kids are involved in running that.
Right.
And we have the equipment, yes. The school's been very good. We broadcast in HD. We have 2 remote control cameras. We have 3 stationary cameras. And, when I say stationary, they don't move. And then we have our Skybama drone that flies. So we have aerial views as well. And, we cover pretty much everything. We have instant replay. We run the Jumbotron out of that booth. So, yeah, our Warrior Nation Network, I'm just in total amazement every single time I sit down, put the headset on like you are. I'm just thankful to be in that position,
It's
Of course, we don't have Millzer, so
right.
You got the advantage.
He keeps threatening to retire.
That ain't never going to happen.
Come on, man. There's no way. If he retires, then you better leave a manual.
Didn't he couldn't see one time this year or last year,
well,
and he still
a couple
did.
times. He can't really see right now.
Yeah, I know, but he still does it.
Yeah, the Enterprise trip 2 years ago, I was definitely flying blind on that one.
He went the whole way down the Enterprise with a towel over his head because he had light sensitivity. Yes. And then when the sun finally got dark, when it finally got dark enough, he took the towel off and started working, and his eyes were completely like as red as the jerseys, bloodshot. And I'm like, well, I'm sure he'll be fine. We'll just keep on. We'll just press on. He soldiered on and got through it. But
Stacy's got
we're coming up on my 200th game.
That's what I was about to say.
Coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
That I don't know. That might have ended the record because I really didn't see that game. I was at the game, but I didn't really see that game.
But being there, but you had the other senses working, which counts as being present.
Hey, well, one time we came to Crampton Bowl. This has been 10 years ago. I got to tell this story on Stacy, and I did the statewide scoreboard show at that time. So we called a game at Crampton Bowl. Well, obviously I couldn't get back to the studio in Birmingham to do the statewide scoreboard. So Stacy set me up downtown Montgomery with a whole separate set of equipment in an insurance agency office.
My friend Brian Dennis, when he had they had the agency, Pat Owens' old agency downtown.
So I just jumped in my car at Crampton Bowl, let it roll down the hill downtown a little bit there, and went in there. And I think one time Stacy reminds me of that movie where the guy in the submarine's got his toe wrapped around a wire wrapped around his toe, and he's holding his left arm up to get the signal.
That would be down Periscope.
Down Periscope. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. But hey, he got it done, and we broadcast from that little insurance office all around the state by feeding it back to Birmingham. So I've always been jealous that Stacy knows all this. I tell you what else he's got too. Stacy's all business when he sets up on Friday night.
Oh, trust me.
Okay. So I was missing an adapter, and we were down here calling Prattville and Central Phoenix City game not too long ago. That's 7-8 years ago. I needed that adapter bad. Stacy's got a tackle box with all that stuff.
Yep.
I can't even find I don't even have one of those things. Not that I know where they plug in, but he's an amazing guy.
He is a jack of all trades, and the best part about Millzer is he's self-taught. Nobody taught him how to do this. He just figured it out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of trial and error throughout my 16 years of doing it.
One Wednesday night 16 years ago, he had all this equipment dropped on him, and the guy that was doing it before him just quit and said, here you go, you figure it out. And then by Friday, he had it figured out, and the rest is history. Bubblegum and chicken wire ever since.
Yep.
Yeah, well, everybody always asks me the question, hey, what would you do with this kind of equipment? What would you do for I wouldn't know how to act with it. I don't know how to operate with stuff that
You'd have all this
works
free
like
time on your hands.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to figure. That's why I'm bringing younger minds into this thing, because the way I do things is not an easy way of doing things.
No, it's the Millzer way.
It's the Millzer.
And we've never, to quote Millzer, we've never not been on the air.
That's right.
He may have gone in a rage a few times, but we've never missed a broadcast. So, yeah, hats off to you, and congrats on your 200th consecutive game. That's going to be a milestone. But if we lose the game, we're never going to talk about it.
Oh no, that'll be the end of it. But hey, before we wrap up or anything, I definitely want, we haven't touched on it yet. You need to hear Jerry Young's bio and what this man has done. You know, his current trade is with the Thompson Warriors. This man is been there, done it across the state in high school broadcasting. So, Jerry, give us a little rundown about your how your career has gone through this.
Well, believe it or not, I started years ago in Florida, and I ended up calling the state championship in Florida, which was just like incredible to me. I moved back to Birmingham, which is where I grew up. I grew up in Bessemer and moved back to Alabaster. So started doing NFHS Network Game of the Week, did some Bibb County High School football before then, and then got hired in Birmingham on the Zone, ESPN The Zone. We did a Game of the Week there, which is, I think, how we got here, and I mentioned that Prattville Central Phoenix City game, I think.
And
that was Game of the Week.
And we'll throw in another name in the middle of that. That's where Intern Davey wound up being.
Oh, Intern Davey.
Intern Davey was with me.
The original.
Still good friends with Davey.
Yeah, what a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And so, it was fun. Mike Reynolds called me one time. I think you were tied up, and I ended up at, was it Jeff Davis calling a basketball game?
Yeah.
Or Carver?
Yeah,
one of those two.
we did a basketball game on Dixie Country one time, me and Jerry.
Yeah, I tried to take your job, but they wouldn't give it to me. But
well, but you must not have tried very hard.
Hey, me and Jerry, during that dry spell when we wasn't seeing the playoffs.
Ooh,
yeah,
the dark ages.
The dark ages. I wasn't taking time off because Jerry would come in, hey, Stacy.
Oh yeah.
We got to do a state game of the week somewhere for where we're going. And every week he'd be like, guess where we're going this week? We're going to Maplesville this week.
Yeah, we'd be at midnight calling some team to see if they were going to broadcast to figure out where we could announce we were going to be the next round. We were busy all the time in playoffs. Man, we did good.
Yep.
So we Maplesville, Leeds, Minor. I mean, we traveled the gauntlet to put games on.
Yeah.
Me and Jerry and whoever he could find to work a camera.
That's right. Sometimes it might have been stationary. So, but while we're talking about this, and how many years you been doing this now?
This is number 14.
Okay. Well, you know what it's like, and I don't know about you. I do know about you. You still get that excitement on Friday night. I've had a couple opportunities to move to small colleges and be the play-by-play. I've turned them down both times, and that's because I love high school football. I know that's the way. There's nothing like it. That's why this NIL crap is coming into college. Yeah. I'm so afraid now. There's some high school players that actually turn 18 while they're still in school. So technically they're an adult and they can sign contracts. I'm worried that, I'm glad that we're keeping it out of Alabama, but I'm very worried. We don't need to let kids be able to make money on high school football.
No, it's the one thing left that's still just pure about football. It's high school football. I love it. I mean, I haven't had an offer to do small college, but I most definitely would probably turn that down because can't imagine wanting to be anywhere else on a Friday night under the Friday night lights here in Prattville.
No, I can't either. Even like when y'all play on Thursday the other night, or we played on Thursday, I think y'all played on Friday, and then vice versa. I'm always listening to you. I mean, I just, I'll move around if there's a couple of games on, like on Friday night, but I just love it even when I don't have to do it. I just can't get away from it. Every year I'm getting to the age now where I say, okay, well, that's about it. I need to shut it down. I just can't do it. It's just too great.
I know. It's just too great. You said it. Well, we were talking about your about your bio, and you actually have an IMDb credit to your name, don't you? The International Movie Database.
Oh, yeah, I was in a movie. I'll tell you this. The only reason I have that wonderful memory is my dad died a few weeks after that movie came out. And so he was not feeling well, and I told him, he was 97 years old. And I said, Dad, you're not going to believe this, but I got hired to be a sports broadcaster in a movie with the Tebows. And the funny story on that, I got a call on my cell phone from Nashville. You know how you get those robocalls? Well, I didn't answer it. Guy left me a message, and he said, I'm calling you from Nashville. I'm a movie producer, and I want to talk to you about being in a movie. I actually laughed. I didn't call him back for 2 days. I said, that's a joke. Well, sure enough, he called me back 2 days later, and it led to Run the Race was the name of the movie. But I went up to the theater, and I told him, I said, look, here's the situation. My dad can't, they shut that theater down for me and let me pull up to the back door that's really not a door from the outside, it's just one of those doors that open from the inside.
Right.
And I was able to let my dad go in there and sit on the front row and watch me. So all that with the movie, it was worth it all to me just to have that memory of my dad, to be able to do that. So
that is cool.
But, it was fun. We did a take, and I had my lines to say, and they called me back 2 days later and asked me if I could up it. They wanted to add some stuff, so I was actually in 2 or 3 times. But we called a track meet, and, it was quite exciting.
Well, once you have a speaking part in the movie, actual words on a screen that make it to the silver screen, that makes you a member of the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah, I wish they'd have paid me.
You're a card-carrying member now.
Well, no.
You're part of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Are you saying you were an unpaid volunteer on that?
No, they actually paid me, but nothing like a Screen Actors Guild.
He didn't get like Costner money, is what he's saying. He didn't get Yellowstone money.
And I've been calling them every week, asking them for more parts, and I just can't get it. I try.
It's like, could you see Jerry as in the Avengers?
I could.
Yeah,
actually.
he needs to get into that franchise.
Well, they never call us for movie parts. They said that because, of course, we have the proverbial face for radio.
Oh, that's me. That's right. You notice it's just my voice only.
Correct.
Well, we're pretty much blackballed from anything because of our association with our color analyst Chip Powell. So.
That's true. Chip keeps us out of a lot of good things, but we
and that was another thing too.
We love him nonetheless.
Jerry's done a couple of games with Chip Powell before.
With Chip?
Yeah, him and Chip called a couple of Central Phoenix City games.
Yeah.
Wow, and you're still on the air. That's a testament to you, Jerry.
Well, I blocked everybody from social media and him saying that he was on there with me, so I kept it as quiet as possible.
Yeah. I do want to ask you about one more thing, though. The NFHS.
Yes.
Has revolutionized the way people can watch high school football. Do you think that the NFHS will continue to be the platform used, or do you see us moving to a different platform?
I'm wondering that myself, Chip. And I mean, you said Chip, now you got Chip on my
gosh.
Oh man, I'm in trouble now.
This podcast.
That's right. That's right. We're going to end it. I don't know. I know that the concept is such a great concept. Mm-hmm. It gives the kids national exposure. I mentioned earlier, there's Clemson fans that are watching the Thompson game now because of a kid going to Clemson, and Alabama and Auburn and all the things. So I want the platform itself, I'm not sure. I just want to make sure that it stays to where you get that kind of exposure for the student athlete. And I know the NFHS networks had growing pains. I know when it first came out, I get it. Listen, you got to pay to watch a high school game. But it ends up being like $7-8 a game for the season,
which is about the same as a ticket.
Yeah, a little less than a ticket. Mm-hmm. But guess what? You can put that up in your restaurant and show 200 or 300 people the game for $7. Where if you took them all to the game, and so I think people have understood that now. I understand in the first how it was hard, and It all started with IHI years ago.
I remember IHI.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think they went on to do a lot of small college stuff now, but I don't even know if they're still in existence. But I like the concept. I want to see some changes. I'll be honest with you. I want to see an upgrade in the way that they do things. I want to see more power out of the computers, if that's the right terminology.
Yes.
I want to make sure that the stream doesn't drop. I'm tired, people that don't have high-speed internet, they sit there and spin. I get that, but that's going to be the same way no matter who streams it. But I think the NFHS network needs to make a major commitment to upgrade all the equipment to make it what it needs to be.
Yeah, the frustrating thing about the NFHS network is their software, their production software, is the same one they were using 10 years ago.
Right.
They haven't updated the actual software. They've updated features, but the actual working software, and for computer people, it's a memory hog. It takes up all your processes on your. You got to have a mega computer to have it run clean.
And you would think as much money as they're generating through NFHS, they would be able to do.
I'll tell you where they're spending the money. They're putting these, what do you call
Pixelot?
Pixelot cameras in every little school. That way they can advertise that you can watch almost any school in the nation.
And here's my thing with those cameras, and this is where I have a problem.
Yeah.
Is yes, there are schools that benefits, the smaller schools that don't have the ability to have classes but the bigger schools, you're giving the bigger schools an option to say, hey, we can take this out of the kids' hands and just have it done automatically. And I thought the whole point of the NFHS network was to teach students how to broadcast. That was their mantra starting out. But they've moved toward these automated cameras and to take the students out of the loop. And I understand there are some situations where there's not well, I'll give a perfect example of a school that has embraced it and it's worked very well for them. Toggable.
Yeah.
They have a large audience because they're a state championship caliber basketball team. And they have all their games on the NFHS network. I watch them all the time.
And Pixelot cameras are perfect for a basketball gym. Yeah. Not for a football field.
No, the tracking software on it is very dicey on a football
As
field.
long as you play a Notre Dame box offense, Pixelot works. If you have a downfield passing game, forget it. You have no idea where the ball is.
I think it's benefited 5A classification and down.
Yes.
6A and 7A. So many schools now. I don't know of any 7A school right now that doesn't have their own broadcast team. I'd have to. I guess there are some. I hadn't come across them. But
there are a couple, but they're few and far between.
But Stacy's right. Now, to be honest with you, we use students in the classroom and also on like the tailgate show.
Yeah.
And we will bring a student or 2 or 3 into the broadcast booth to let them watch and learn and listen, and then that's what's taught the next week. But our production crew is all adult paid people.
And that's with a program that size, you need that.
Yeah,
you need that, and we're just now getting to where our students are not just capable, but in number enough to actually pull this off. And Millzer's fought hard for that. Really tooth and nail.
Well, yeah, we've gone from a couple of kids coming in and helping us out every once in a while, if we were lucky, to now the last count we're over 70 students in the program,
and they're rotating through.
And and on Friday nights now, we have, it's kind of it's a double-edged sword. You want a group in there to learn how to where you can just turn it over and everything, but there's so many kids that want to get involved that we're not set up for them yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're rotating 5 to 7 kids every Friday. We get a new set of 5 to 7 kids that learn how to do the entire process. And like I said, my hopes and dreams of the future is we just walk in and put our headsets on and then walk out when we're done.
Right.
And then the kids take care of it. So,
and that's where the money comes in. That's where we're talking about this millage.
Right.
You were asking me, it's not just athletics, but our media class has a full studio that is rivaled by TV stations in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. We have our own radio podcast classroom as well. So,
is it as nice as this, Jerry?
not quite.
You don't have ZZ Top ads,
and I don't have the Auburn quarterback either, which I love.
That Auburn quarterback actually is the #1 quarterback on the team right now.
If Stacy will turn his head, he'll be minus one quarterback.
But here's the thing, though. He has about the same delivery speed as Finley.
Yeah, he does. He does. It's about the same.
Per guy.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, it's been a blast having you on today. I really appreciate you spending. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of things going on, but I appreciate you spending some time with us today.
I always come when Stacy calls. This is you guys are high school royalty to me, and I appreciate you having me on.
Well, it's been an honor, and the feeling is likewise. I promise you that much.
Y'all come and let me roll out the red carpet one Friday night. Well, you probably won't get a chance the rest of the year till you see us. I have to roll it out in Auburn, but if you do, we'd love to have you. I'll feed you and put you on the pregame show. And
if by chance we don't make it to Auburn, we'd love to come see you.
I'd love to have y'all. Y'all just load up and come on.
That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. Stacy?
Yes.
Anything else?
No, but it's just about that time for.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, Jerry's going to get an experience here. So.
We are now going to go to our poetic justice moment with Chip Powell. You might not know this, Jerry, but Chip he's a poet laureate and recites it beautifully. The best part about it is that it's off the top of his head. This is stuff he's put in his heart and his mind since he was a child. So let's go ahead and take it to our poetic justice moment.
Yeah, he has a special guest this week too.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, this one's an all timer.
And I don't get to hear these until they happen right now. So let's go.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Poetic Justice. Again, I'm by myself. Lewis Mills on vacation still. We missed the guy, but when he comes back, wow, it's going to be tough. He's going to have some new stuff for us, new material. But today we have a special guest we invited in. He known throughout Autauga County, parts of Chilton and Elmore County. You know this guy. He 1978. Graduate of Prattville High School, first graduating class of Prattville High School. Bruce Killough. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Chip. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, yeah, listen, I know you're a big fan of the show, and let's just start, first of all. I know you had Miss Hall, I think, Winona Hall for English lit teacher back in the day, but if I'm not mistaken, your love of poetry started way beyond that.
It did. Even as a young boy, I was interested in it, but really, I think it was in 9th grade, Miss Holloway's class.
Yeah.
We had to write some poems, and I wrote one about our last junior high football game called "The Gang and Me," and it was fantastic. She even wanted a copy of it, so it kind of went from there.
How do you just do a poem on a game you lost?
You do it from the heart, man. No, but we didn't lose. We won. It was a close game. We won.
Okay, well, good. Listen, that's really all we need to know about your love of poetry and when it started. But you've got a poem today. I'm going to try to guess it. I'm going to try to guess the poem. And then I'm going to turn around and hopefully guess the artist, too. But I know you've got it recited, and we'll go with it right here. And, Bruce, if you want to go ahead, go with this one.
Okay. You got me rolling like a wheel, turning round and round, nowhere to go. I've got to find out if you're feeling it too. It's hard to tell. So here's what I do, and every time I want more, I will take you out on the floor.
Immediately, I know it. And you dude, try to pull one on me like that.
Well, I was trying to trip you up a little bit.
And you do that to mess me up, but I caught it before. That comes from the Scandinavian 20th century poet Olaf Pernervik, better known as Leif Garrett. I was made for dancing.
Excellent.
How did you do that, man? That is incredible.
That is incredible.
Leif Garrett, I had no idea he was a poet. But
well, yes.
Your favorite song, I've known this, but you slid it on me there. Man, you're a slick dude.
But
wow, there it is in the background. Awesome. What an episode, Bruce Killough. Thank you, man. That was awesome.
All right, man. Well, thanks
See you
for
next
having me.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, it can range from the 1200s to modern day. Jerry, that's the kind of guy.
I'm glad y'all waited to the end of this show to play that.
Yeah, it usually ends the show.
Usually it ends the show. Usually that's when everybody goes, oh, that's enough of that.
That's right.
I'll just pick up the rest later.
Yeah, Bruce Killough is internationally known for his quote love of Leif Garrett, and I say that very sarcastically.
His love of Leif Garrett. Well, who doesn't love?
Jerry-
Who doesn't love Leif Garrett?
Jerry, that is like he hates that song with a passion.
Gotcha.
Chip was
Put it in on him.
put it in on him. So
Well, of course, Jerry, you know, our broadcast group is a foursome these days with Chip,
Right.
myself, Millzer, and Coach Donny Burnett.
Yes.
And so it shouldn't surprise you that Coach Donny Burnett has a part of the Preferred Experience podcast as well. And we close each segment, each podcast with a motivational minute from the head ball coach himself. So without further ado, the Motivational Minute with Donny Burnett.
This is Coach Donny Burnett, and here's today's Motivational Minute. Today we're going to talk about grit. No, not grits, Will Barrett, grit. Grit is the mental toughness and passion that propels you towards achieving your vision for life. It's the key to remaining focused and motivated. Rather than courage or exceptional talent, grit is the tenacity, perseverance, resilience, and willingness to keep you going despite obstacles. It is quickly adapting to new circumstances and being committed to work hard for long periods, trusting that if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you'll light that sucker up yourself. This is Coach Donny Burnett, and that was today's Motivational Minute.
Well, now you've heard from the entire broadcast crew, Jerry.
You know, if I come back, can we get Chip here live so I can?
You know, everybody asks that. What is it with Chip Powell? They love him
Well,
so much.
say I would really get into that.
Well, I say anything's possible.
Okay.
And we'll definitely want to have you back on.
but going back to Donnie's end, hey, look at the timing of that, man. He was Chief Grit this past weekend.
That's right. He
The
was
head of grits.
Head judge of the Great Grits Cook-Off at the YMCA this past weekend, and what perfect timing to include that into his motivational minute.
Well, I know this podcast's been a little serious talking about, millage and all that, but this is my kind of podcast right here. Now we're just getting into the good stuff.
Well,
I mean, if y'all want to cut up a little bit, here we go.
And we like a little bit of everything. Very eclectic.
yeah.
You never know what you're going to catch on the Preferred
if
Experience.
you haven't got a chance, Jerry, go back and listen to our recollections of our trip to Miami. That's
Okay.
probably the standard setter of our.
Yeah, was that episode 4?
Yeah, I think it was
I
our
think
fourth
episode 4.
episode.
Yeah. The Miami Experience, Part 1.
I've listened to several. One was really good with the military guy.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very good
Ricky
pod.
Rose?
Ricky Rose. Yeah, that was great.
Ooh, and he's picking up a lot of steam from that episode. I mean, people are becoming aware of what that really is all about. The PTSD that these guys face and the stuff they're up against, it's real, and they face it every single day. He just lost another friend over the last week. Same kind of situation. So, yeah, we love Ricky, and he's another part of this Prattville football program that's just irreplaceable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and let Jerry be on his way.
And just because we're wrapping it up, don't mean he's not invited back anytime.
Oh, of course not. Open invitation,
So-
Mr. Young.
Because you just laid it out there. If you want to come in and have some fun with us,
Yeah, that's
now,
what I was about to say.
We can definitely do
We'll
that.
start cutting up a little bit.
Yeah, let's get this
I'm
November 8th
I'm
vote.
sure Jerry has just as many war stories on the road as we do.
Oh, there's no question. You've seen some stuff.
Oh,
We've all seen some stuff.
We can talk everything from streaking to.
From streaking to cayenne pepper.
I'm telling you, I can get.
Stories abound.
To setting the gold standard with teeth.
That's true. I do have a character named Bubba.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up for the Millzer, for our special guest Jerry Young today. I'm Will Barrett, as always, saying good night, God bless, and go Lions.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Man, Will, love you coming in, pinch hitting, and dude, you hit a grand slam tonight.
Well, expect nothing less from me, Daryl. I'm the best.